Hi, I'm Kelsey from Crafting for Weeks, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this turban squash pumpkin. This is part of the Ugly Gourds trio. This pumpkin is worked mostly in the round, and then the top section of it is going to be worked vertically. So we will get into more detail when we get there. So to begin with, you're going to need bulky weight yarn. For this one in particular, I actually use worsted weight yarn, and I held that triple. So this is the respun worsted. If you need a tutorial video for that, I will link it for you. It is also in this playlist. For the pumpkin I'm going to be showing you, I'm actually just going to be using a bulky 5 yarn. This is Hue+Me from Lion brand. This is actually on the heavier side of a bulky yarn in my opinion, but as you can see, it is a bulky 5. You are welcome to substitute another weight 5 yarn. You shouldn't have any problems even if it is a lighter weight 5 than this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I am using a 6mm, which is a J hook if you're using US terms, 6mm crochet hook, and I'm going to start with a magic circle. So this is a really grippy yarn, so I'm actually only going to do a single magic circle. Normally I would do a double like this and then pull through to start my magic circle. It actually was easier without that. So loop it around, stick that hook under and pull up a loop. Then you're going to chain 1 to lock it onto that circle there. Now chain 1 more. We're going to be doing half double crochets in the round. So we're going to start with half double crochet into that circle. We're going to be doing a total of 10 half double crochets into your magic circle. Now if you don't know what a half double crochet is, I will go ahead and link a video in here of some basic crochet stitches, but ultimately it's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and that is a half double crochet. So for this part of the video, I am doing 10. Now once I have 10, I'm giving myself a little space there, and I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to close up my magic circle, and basically I'm just cinching that tight so that the bottom, this is the base of the pumpkin, is going to be closed. Now I recommend doing a little stitch count before you put that hook back in, so you make sure you have actually 10 stitches like you need. Sometimes that first one gets a little lost in there. So what you want to do is, if you have a stitch marker, just use a stitch marker. For this, I'm using a scrap piece of yarn of a contrasting color, and as we go you'll kind of see why this is a helpful stitch marker. It helps you follow the line of your rounds. So in that first stitch that I just marked with my little scrap thread there, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets. I'm going to be doing increases all the way through this round. So 2 half double crochets in the same space. That is an increase. Now as we go, the increasers are going to change frequency, but for this second round, I guess, you're going to need to do 2 stitches in each stitch from the previous round. So 1 increase per stitch. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing 2 half double crochets in each stitch around, and then I will go ahead and fast forward you to the end here so we can move on to our next round together. Okay, so here we have just finished our last half double crochet of the round. Now I like to actually move my stitch marker at this point, and this is the next stitch. So I'm gonna take my hook out and I'm just going to pull that thread through that first stitch, and now it's marked. So for this round we are going to be doing 1 half double crochet and then 1 increase stitch. So 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and then in the following stitch we're going to be doing 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. And then we're going to repeat that around. So 1 half double crochet and then 1 increase, which as we mentioned is 2 half double crochets in the same space. So that is the pattern that we're going to take around. 1 half double crochet, 1 increase. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end of this round and start you on your next one. Okay, we are on round 4. This round is just half double crochets all the way around. Oh, forgot to move my stitch marker, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that thread just through that stitch that I just did. Don't want to lose it. Okay, and continuing. We're doing half double crochets all the way around, just one half double crochet per stitch. No increases this round. This is going to help our circle not to get too wavy. If you build a circle too fast or too slow, you'll start to get distortions in your shape. So that's why we are doing a round of just half double crochets this time around. So one half double crochet in each stitch around, and I will meet you at the first stitch for the next round. Okay, so I've just finished the last stitch of round 4. My piece is starting to want to round and curl, as it should. Now this part that we're looking at right here is the front, and this is actually the back. And so we're going to go ahead and start round 5. Round 5 is going to be 2 half double crochets and then 1 increase stitch. So let's go ahead and start 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and move my stitch marker here really quick so I don't forget into that first stitch that I just did. And so we did 2 half double crochets, and now we're going to do our increase stitch, which is 2 half double crochets in the same space. And we're just going to do that again. So 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And that is the pattern that you're going to take around for this one. And I will meet you at the end of this round, and we will do round 6. Okay, so you might have guessed what's coming, but we are going to do half double crochet 3 and then an increase. So this is round 6 that we're working on right now. So 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets. I'm going to pause and move my stitch marker really quick. This is important. If you're not really good at spotting where your stitches are, use your stitch markers. Okay, 3 half double crochets here, and then an increase. So that means 2 half double crochets in the same space. And this is the pattern we're going to take around this time. 3 half double crochets, and then 1 increase. So I will go ahead and skip ahead, and we'll start round 7. Okay, round 7, here we come. And you probably already guessed it, half double crochet 4. And then an increase. So we're going to go ahead and start 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, which is the stitch with the stitch marker. Another half double crochet, 3 half double crochets, 4 half double crochets, and then our increase. So that means 2 in the same space. Now I didn't move my stitch marker yet. Don't forget to move your stitch markers. That's important. I'm going to go ahead and stop and do that really quick. You want to know where your beginning stitch is so you know when to change your patterns for the next round. So I'm going to continue this pattern around 4 half double crochets, 1 increase, and then I will meet you at the beginning of round 8. Round 8 is our last increase row. So this is our first stitch, which we nicely marked, and you may have guessed we are going to do 5 half double crochets and then 1 increase stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. And that is the pattern that we are going to take all the way around. 5 half double crochets, 1 increase. Again, don't forget to move your stitch marker. We don't want to forget which one is the first stitch of the round. And you can kind of see why I'm using the contrasting yarn. It kind of makes a nice line up this piece so we can see where we're starting. Okay, so I will go ahead and meet you at the beginning of round 9. We will not be doing an increase, but I will show you what to do next. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of round 9. We have this nice round circle-y shape. It is starting to curve up around the edges, which we like. This is going to be the bottom of our pumpkin, and now we're going to stop increasing and just do half double crochets all the way around. We're going to do this for 4 rounds. So move your stitch marker, do a lot of half double crochets, 1 half double crochet per stitch for 4 rounds. Now I'm not going to make you watch me do 4 rounds of half double crochets, but I do want to remind you, move your stitch marker so that you don't forget where you started your round. So 4 rounds, half double crochet 1 in each stitch, and I will meet you at the beginning of round 13. Okay, so we have done 4 rounds of half double crochet, and you can see how it kind of built this nice edge to our round base. We're going to start decreasing to kind of bring the top of that shape back in. So we're going to decrease in the same pattern that we increased. We're going to start, this is round 13, we're going to do, half double crochet, yarn over first. We're going to half double crochet 5, and then we're going to do a decrease stitch. And if you've never done that, I will show you what that looks like. Let's go ahead and get our 5 in. It's 3, 4, and 5. Oh, come on now. Let's get that 5th one in. 5. Okay, so now we're going to be decreasing, which is doing 2 of them together. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop, then I'm going to insert it into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and that's my decrease. Now I'm going to go ahead and do 5 more, and then I will show you that decrease again. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to do another decrease stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert it into that first stitch, pull up a loop, and then also in the next stitch, insert and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on my hook. So we're going to continue that pattern all the way around, and then we will start round 14. Okay, here we are for round 14. We are going to be doing a decrease round again. Like I mentioned, we're working in that same pattern that we increased, so we're just doing it in reverse. So we will be doing 4 half double crochets this time, and then 1 decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to work our decrease over the next 2 stitches. That's the yarn over, pull up a loop, and then insert the hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn, and pull through all of those. So we're doing 4 half double crochets, 1 decrease, and that is our pattern for this round. All right, here we are at round 15, our last round of the bottom section of the turban squash. We are going to be doing 3 half double crochets and then 1 decrease. So let's go ahead and show you. 1, 2, 3, and then our decrease stitch will be over the next 2 stitches. And I have showed you that in the previous rounds. I'm not going to break it down in this round, but that is our pattern to go around: 3 half double crochets, 1 decrease. And I will meet you at the end of this round for the start of the next section. Okay, it's time to start the next section. Like I mentioned, we are working both in rounds and vertically. So this is the section you're going to need some interesting colors. I have another skein of Hue+Me. I also have this random skein of cream bulky. Hopefully it will work okay. For this section, you're going to be working vertically. So we're going to start with a chain. You're going to chain 9, and you did not break your yarn, by the way. Keep your yarn attached and chain 9. And then we're going to be working down this chain that we just made. For this, I'm going to be just picking up a regular loop. If you like to work in the back loops, that's fine. You can do that, but I'm just going to be working into the chain. So we're going to, in the second loop from your hook, half double crochet in each chain back down. So you chained up, and then we're going to go back down. If you've worked ribbing before, vertically like this, then you kind of know what's coming, but if not, just bear with me. So we're going to half double crochet in each chain down. You should have 8 half double crochets when you get back to your base. So let's see here. That's my last one. So this is my, oh, come on now. This is my 8th half double crochet. And then we need to attach this little piece to our actual pumpkin. So in that first stitch, I'm going to slip stitch. So that's just inserting your hook and slipping it through both loops. And this is going to attach the vertical part of the pumpkin to the base. And I'm going to slip stitch in my next stitch as well, because we're going to turn and we're going to work back up. So don't chain. We're going to work into each stitch back up the pumpkin, half double crochet. Now I'm not working in back loops only. You could if you wanted to give it a ribbed effect. I'm just doing a full half double crochet. Sorry. Okay, we're going to turn without chaining. You're going to pull that strand up and we're going to yarn over and insert into that first half double crochet and pull through. We are not working in the back loops, we're just working into the stitch. Then we're going to do 8 half double crochets back up this little strip that we just made. And when we're working up from the base, we don't chain when we turn, but when we come back down, we are going to chain. So we're going to do this last half double crochet really quick, and then that is the upward, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn and come back down. So you kind of have to flip your whole piece around to come back down this strip. We're going to do a few more rows of this, and then I will show you how to change color. For this pumpkin, you might go look at turban squash in like a Google search and kind of see that they have some unique striping on the top section, or they also sometimes just have like a solid white. For this, I just added some fun stripes to kind of give it that odd effect that these turban squashes have. And at the end of this row, I will show you how I do my color changes. So I've just done 8 half double crochets, and I am not pulling through on my last color here. I'm going to grab my next color, which is this cream. I don't remember which yarn it is. I know it's a bulky 5, but I don't have the label. It is a different brand though, so keep that in mind when you're adding other yarn brands, that they might look a little different because of the weight of a 5. So I'm going to pull through with my next color. I'm just going to kind of toss that tail inside of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to slip stitch with my new color. So I'm going into the next, not the stitch I just did a slip stitch in, the next one, and then the following stitch. So make sure you're going into the next stitches. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to half double crochet. Remember, don't chain when you're going back up. I can see very clearly where my slip stitches are. I'm going to skip those, and I'm going to work only in the half double crochets, and I'm going to go back up. Now you'll notice I did not cut my other yarn. I'm going to go up and back down with this cream color, and then I will switch back. As you can see already, this cream color is not as thick as the Hue+Me. So yeah, I'm not super thrilled with this one, but we're already in here, so let's keep going. So I'm gonna come back down. I did a chain 1 when I'm turning to come back down. And what I'm going to do at the base of this row is pick back up your the color you just dropped. So I'll show you how to do that here in a second. In my written pattern, I have the color changes written out for you, but you can also just kind of make it up as you go. Like, do what you want. Make it interesting. Freehand it. Okay, so I am going to pull back up this color that I set down, and I'm going to use it to pull through on that last stitch. So I'm going to tighten these, make sure they're all snug, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitches. So it's these two right here, slip stitch, and we are going to skip those 2 slip stitches and half double crochet without chaining back up your strip. So you can just continue this pattern of going up and down and slip stitching at the base all the way around. You can change your colors as you want. And before I leave you on your own, let me show you how to carry your color in case you want to do like single row changes and you need your color at the top. Okay, so let's say that I want to do just one row of this pink color. I'm gonna carry this cream color with me. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna yarn over with my half double crochet and I'm just gonna tuck that strand inside of the stitch. So I'm just putting my stitch under the strand I'm carrying and then through the stitch. And that way when I get to the end of this row, I can just pick up that yarn that I'm carrying for a color change and I don't have to worry about cutting and retying and a lot of ends. Everything's still connected. Okay, so once I get to the end of this row here, I will show you how to do a color change on the top side of a row here. So a couple more stitches. And okay, now I'm going to pull through with the opposite color. And here I'm just going to chain one to turn. And then I'm going to take that other color and I'm going to tuck it behind my stitches. When I was going up, I tucked it in front. When I'm going back down, I'm tucking it behind. Basically, I'm just keeping it on the inside of the pumpkin. And then I'm just going to do half double crochets and I'm going to work over it. So I'm carrying it back down. So this is how you can change your colors without having to cut your yarn. And again, you'll just do these half double crochet rows and then do slip stitches, 2 slip stitches on the bottom side. And you'll do this all the way around your pumpkin. Now, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end of this section. And I'm going to show you how to join your half double crochet rows and close it up. Okay, I'm picking back up on the last row. This is the last row of half double crochets. I just did 2 slip stitches and now I'm doing my last few stitches of this top section. Now once I get to the top, there's actually not any more stitches along the base, so you'll actually end at the top of the row. And then we're going to join this. And let's, one more here. And now it's time to join. So you can cut your yarn and stitch this by hand with the tapestry needle, but I'm actually going to show you how to do it without cutting your yarn. So first I'm going to turn it inside out, and you can see how I have all my color changes and where I carried my yarn, and I kind of just made this up as I went as far as color changes. Again, in my written pattern, it's written out for you when to do the color changes, but I will link that in the description below. For the join, we are going to be working in the back loops only of this section that we just did this row. We're going to be working in the back loops. So the loop closest to you is the front loop and the loop furthest away is the back loop. So this is my opposite side. There's really only one loop if you worked in the first loop of the chain. If you worked in the back loops of the chain, find the back loops. So I'm going to pick up the loop of the chain. So I'm going to insert my hook into that loop first, and then I'm going to insert my hook in the back loop of the row that I'm on, excuse me, row that I'm on, and I'm going to slip stitch those two together. So I'm inserting my hook in the chain and then the back loop, and I'm slip stitching those two together, and I'm going to go all the way down this row, so there should be 8. And this is just going to close up that top section so there's no gap here anymore. Okay, just a couple more here and then I will show you what to do next. All right, slip stitch and one more. That first one's a little bit tricky to find, so but don't skip it. Now, there's a little gapping here, right here. So I'm actually going to slip stitch this together as well to just kind of close any holes that might show up there. So I have finished this seam, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself like a good amount of yarn. So 2 to 3 feet. You're going to want to give yourself enough yarn to seam up the top of this. So let me pull this through. Okay, here we are. We have the top. I can take this stitch marker out really quick. We have the bottom of the pumpkin done. We have the top of the pumpkin done. I'm going to turn this right side out, and we are going to stuff. So you will need some polyfill stuffing. If you prefer to stuff it another way, like old yarn scraps, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that next. So to keep my shape nice and round at the bottom, I'm going to focus on stuffing the bottom first. And I'm just going to kind of tuck it down and like around to the outside edges. And I'm going to fill it kind of full so that the bottom part of this squash keeps its round shape like a turban squash. Now, if you've never used polyfill stuffing before, it works a little better if you pull it apart a little bit, just separate the fibers. Yeah, so then we're gonna just fill this guy up. Now, I don't know if you saw before, but that long tail that I left, I actually pulled that out and off to the side so that I can use it later. And we're just gonna keep stuffing this till it's pretty firm on the bottom. And we should be getting close here. So once we have the bottom pretty well filled, like we've packed it nice and firm down there in the round section of the squash, we're going to add more stuffing to the top section. And this is going to sit on top of the bottom filling. So it's almost like you're stuffing two separate pumpkins. Now I'm going to thread my tapestry needle, and we are going to close up this top. So I'm using that thread, and I never cut my thread from before. I am weaving in and out along this top edge. This is a very common way to close a pumpkin. So if you've made one before, you've probably seen this technique. We are just going in and out every few stitches. 2 to 3 stitches should be fine. We will go around this circle again. And let me speed this up just a smidge. We want to go all the way around to the place that we started, and once we get there, we're going to just take this tail and we're going to pull it tight and cinch that top pumpkin closed. And we're just stuffing that stuffing down in there, cinching it closed. If you need more stuffing, now is a good time to add it. If you like the shape, you don't have to worry about it. I'm actually going to put just a little bit more in there so it doesn't collapse too much. So kind of what makes this pumpkin unique is its odd shaping. So I wouldn't be afraid to spend a little extra time making sure you get this kind of bubble on the bottom and this like weird lump on the top. I would encourage you to go look up a turban squash in a Google search again, just to kind of like get a reference and see what I'm talking about as far as this odd shaping. But once you're happy with it, you think it looks fairly realistic, go ahead and cinch this tight. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to go around this circle again, because it's going to secure that, and it's also going to make your circle smaller. So instead of going every 2 to 3 stitches, this time you're just picking up those bigger sections. And we're going to go around and we're going to cinch it tight. And as many rounds as it takes to get this little hole at the top closed, that's as many as you need to do. So usually it takes me like 2 to 3 passes to get it pretty secure. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up again. And basically what I'm looking for is once I can do a pass and pull it tight and it doesn't come back open. So once I have achieved that, I know that I've done enough passes and it's ready to go. So once you get there, here's what you're going to do. You're going to just take your tail, put it through a stitch, and we're going to tie it off. So we're just basically going to pass it through this little loop so that it's knotted. And then we're going to use this tail right here for some shaping. So here's where we're at right now. We've got a vague shape that we're going for, and we're going to do some detailing. Let me back it up here so you can see better. So I want to go down through the center. I'm using my tapestry needle and the tail, and I want to go out through one of these sides. I'm just going through the down and out through the top portion of this. And so this is creating some lines on the top section. So, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do that exact same place again. So go through the same spot twice and then pull that down. And that's giving me a nice little ridge here, but only on the top section. I want my bottom section to stay round. So we're going to go around and back down and out through the side somewhere else. Since the top portion of a turban squash is pretty random and odd, you don't really have to do this precisely. Just pick a few spots where your yarn matches and go down and out through those, and repeat that, and then cinch it to give it a little ridge wherever you happen to put that. I'm going to do a couple more of these little shaping ridges on the top just to give it some more character, but there isn't a like specific number that you have to do. If you do 2 and you're like, that's weird enough for me, then you're good. If you do 4 and you're like, I need more, it needs more lumps, then do more lumps. I think I'm going to go with like 3 or 4 on this one. Okay, so I'm going to do one more of these little bumpy ridges here. I'm going to pull that nice and tight, and I have a little bit of tail left. Again, you need a long tail because we're doing this shaping element, and we're also going to do the next shaping element with the tail, and I'm getting close to the end of mine, but I think we'll make it. Okay, so you're going to take that tapestry needle and you're going to come down through the center. So we're going to go down and then out the bottom, and we're aiming for roughly the center. This is a long way to go for the tapestry needle, just fair warning. Watch your fingers, work it through, you can do it. So I'm taking this tail and I'm pulling it tight to kind of give my pumpkin almost like an indent. Okay, now we're going to go back up through the top, pick up a little bit of fabric so that it doesn't go right back through the same hole. And this took me an embarrassingly long time to get the tapestry needle to come back up through the top, but that is the goal. Again, it's a long way for the tapestry needle to pass. And I just sped it up to get through it as quickly and painlessly as possible. So once you get that tapestry needle back through the top, pull it tight, and that's going to give you this little indent on the bottom, and this kind of little like donut shape makes your pumpkin kind of squish out and be more round and wide. So this is optional, but that's what I like to do to give it a more round, wide shape. And once I get it back through the top, I'm doing that same action of slipping it through a stitch and tying it off. So I picked up a stitch for it to go through, I tied it tight, and now I'm going to weave in this end. Let me kind of tuck that knot in there. Okay, and so how I weave in ends in this type of crochet is I push my tapestry needle through the crochet project and pull it out somewhere random and cut it off. Ta-da, it's woven. Okay, so now we have this nice round, weird, lumpy pumpkin. Okay, so just a little bit more finishing. I like to do a contrasting color. So I'm picking that cream that I used before, and I'm going to do a surface crochet, and I'm making a ridge right along where the stitches meet. So surface crochet, I have put the yarn on my hook, and I'm picking up one of the stitches. This is a half double crochet that's like right where the two sections meet. And I'm going to, that did not stay on my hook. Let's try that again. So I have done a slip stitch on my hook, and let's pick up that stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch, and I'm going to continue doing that. So I'm going to pick up the next half double crochet with my hook, and I'm going to slip stitch under it and then through there. There we go. So pick up a stitch and then work a slip stitch. And I'm just going to go all the way around where the top and bottom sections meet. And so basically what I'm doing is just creating this visual distraction from where the styles of crochet have changed, from where I'm working into the round to where I'm working vertically, and just making it more of a intentional looking transition. So this is a nice finishing piece. You don't have to do this, but I honestly think it looks so much better with this little row of surface. It's called surface crochet or surface slip stitch. If you would like a more in-depth tutorial, that's what you would look for. I do not personally have one to link, but there are a lot of tutorials out there about surface crochet. Okay, so I think you have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the end of this little round right here that I'm doing surface crochet on. Okay, so we've made it all the way around to where we started. I'm going to snip my thread here and take out my hook, and I'm actually going to tie the two ends together. So this is the tail that I started with, and then the tail that I ended with. I'm going to tie these together, and then I'm going to do the exact same weaving technique that I just did, where I'm taking these ends and I'm tucking them inside. So I'm going to go in somewhere kind of less obscure where the colors match, and I'm going to pull them through, and then I'm going to snip off everything that is hanging out the edge. All right, so that part is done. Let me show you really quickly how that looks. You can see how it kind of just adds a little bit of shaping to this. So the last thing that I did is adding a stem. So this is actually like in a real pumpkin, that's actually the bottom. So like the stem would come out here of the top, but we're not going to display it that way. So we're going to put a small piece of cork or a wood button right here. This is just like a slice of cork that I took off of a wine cork. And you could also use a wood button. That would probably be also just as easily available. And glue it or sew it on. And then when you're displaying it, this would be like where the base of the pumpkin is. And we're just showing not a true stem, but a more realistic stem. Actually, I'm just going to show you what I mean. Okay, so let me grab a fake stem here really quick. So here, this is a plastic stem from Amazon. Now, if this was a real life pumpkin, the stem would be up here and the base would be down here. And that is why I'm not putting a traditional like stick or stem on the top. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that because this is a weird pumpkin, and yeah, I'm just helping you make it look realistic. So that is the end of the tutorial. This is what it looks like when it's done. You can find the entire written crochet pattern for this for free on my blog at craftingforweeks.com, along with the other two gourds from this trio, the Autumn Wings gourd and the Warty Pumpkin. So you can make the entire trio for free, or you can purchase the pattern in my shops if you prefer to have a printed PDF. So I hope you enjoyed this pattern, and until next time, happy crafting.